This week is not really, I would say, a cheerful week. In particular, the Queen has died. Yeah. But at another universe or another world, perhaps, Bitcoin is currently regaining momentum and winter is coming for Europe. So these are one of the three of the main things that we will discuss this week and what to anticipate for the upcoming weeks ahead. As usual, not financial or legal advice. And a quick shout out to all our current Gatherer members. So allow me to start with Andrew, Yo-Yo, Wendy, Edward, Adam, Alex, Shafiq, Sisi, Atmos, L, Eric, Yimboy, Cody, Hazik, Is, Fitri, Artip, Morpheus, Urshad, Aizat, CG, Balls, Waki, Dina, Liu Kid, Mokai, Kelvin, Kai, Lanzu, Gerard, Thien, Roy, Tommy, John, Rodney, Amiro, Jinkang, Junlo, Helmi, and Adrian. Thank you all so much for your support. Yeah, and a quick recap on last week's news. We brought in Mr. Sunny, economist and financial planner, to talk about what's happening in the current market. But obviously, Bitcoin held quite strong last week. It closed the week at about $19,800. But this week, it kind of fell below that mark. Okay, this week's low is about 18,005. Yeah, we'll talk more about that later and why Bitcoin rallied back up to about 21,005 as we are speaking currently. Now, another bearish news, we talked about the Federal Reserve, the President Loretta Mester. She's one of the voting members of the FOMC, one of the 12. And she said that rate hikes are expected to rise up to 4% by early next year. And markets are now pricing in rate hikes of up to 4% by the end of the year. So last week, I've also shown you guys the probabilities of the Federal Reserve raising interest rates by 75 basis points in the September meeting. That's by the end of the month. Mostly priced in already. The market has kind of like anticipated this aggressive movement. And based on what she said, and also the Jackson Hole meeting at the end of August, I think it's about 25th, 26th August, the Federal Reserve made their goals really clear, right? They won't back down until inflation reaches their target goal of 2%. So we're going to see a consecutive 75 basis point hike throughout the end of the year. Maybe at December, they'll lower it back down to 0.5%, and that adds up to be a total about 4%. Okay, more Mt. Gox drama. Well, for those of you guys who are keeping track of this Mt. Gox news and are worried, we quelled the rumors last week. It's just a massive FUD. On September 15th, 150,000 Bitcoins will not enter the market. September 15th is just the last day for creditors to fill in the form and apply for their claims. Okay, so the repayment date will be set in due course. That one is set to be determined and it will be repaid in tranches to prevent a market shock. And we concluded at Euro. The Eurozone inflation rises to 9.1%. UK currently has the worst inflation, 10.1%. Obviously, no thanks to Russia's war with Ukraine and them halting gas supplies to Europe. Okay, so that's about last week's news. Now, this week on September the 8th, the Queen died. This is quite a bit of a sad story and some things that you guys just need to know because she is currently the most famous person in the world. She started her reign when she was 26, reigned for more than 70 years, longest British serving monarch. Now this woman right here has seen 15 British prime ministers, starting from Winston Churchill at the late 1800s all the way up to the most recently elected Liz Truss, if you guys are keeping track of Great Britain's politics right here. Stock market and banks closed during the Queen's passing and will close once more during the funeral about 9 or 10 days later. Now the key thing here is that her death will bring about a lot of changes, not just to the UK but the global economy as well. Well, for a starters, her image and cipher have all appeared on nearly all government issued items, especially coins and currencies. And now since her son, King Charles, has taken the throne, all these currencies have to be gradually phased out and be reprinted into King Charles' picture. And in particular, God Save the Queen, that's no longer in UK right now. Now it's God Save the King. Yeah, so big changes. Total cost for the funeral and coronation is expected to reach $6 billion. Now we are excluding all the future developments, currency reprinting, etc., passports. Yeah, that is already costing you $6 billion. And at this current inflationary environment, well, a lot of people are saying that the Queen's passing actually will worsen the UK's economy for some time to come. And it depends on the King, how the King will decide to do about this. Okay, so those are the few things that you guys are supposed to know. How does it relate to Malaysia? Well, the Queen has been to Malaysia quite a few times in the 1970s and all the way up to the 1990s. She's came to visit Malaysia and also keep our diplomatic ties. We jump right into this week's news. A bit of market upswing this week, some good news or probably positive sentiment right now. Last week we ended our note at extreme fear, and right now we're back into fear. And if you allow me to shift to the hourly chart over here, you can see last week we tried to predict that the market will actually go down, right? Because fundamentals are not looking really strong, and tech stocks that have went down extremely hard. Therefore, we expect Bitcoin to go down also. And the earlier part of this week, and at about 6 or 7 of September, the market actually slipped. For reasons being probably due to the Jackson Hole meeting, Powell's speech. I also posted a short video on Twitter. For those of you guys who have seen it, you guys know. And right now, you see Bitcoin suddenly just pumping easily 5 to 10%, currently attempting to break above $22,000. So this is one of the key resistances that Bitcoin has failed to break through in the past few, I would say, days or weeks. And the next major obstacle to overcome is $25,000. If I shift over to the other chart comparing the dollar strength, tech stocks, and Bitcoin, you'll be able to see the last time we tried to go up $25,000, right, we were immediately rejected, and we spent the entire 2 or 3 weeks skirting downwards, following tech stocks. Okay, so this week I tried to dig around the internet, right, to find a good reason for Bitcoin's pump all the way up to 21,005. And sad to say, I could not find any good reason. The only reason that I can look right here is that actually is following tech stocks, because tech stocks have rebounded. The dollar index has retraced also. These three assets, dollar is actually inversely correlated to speculative assets like tech stocks and Bitcoin. So my reason for this pump right here, I guess, is that inflation data is coming out on September the 13th, which is on next Tuesday. Investors are kind of anticipating that inflation data to become out much more better, much lower than analysts' predictions. Therefore, they are like, actually saying that tech stocks are going up right now and Bitcoin is going up right now. And also we have to consider the Ethereum Merge, right, which is due on September 15th. The developers have confirmed already, and you see Ethereum from a low of 14,005 going back up to its high of about 17,005 this week. Okay, so that's one of the reasons for the pump this week. Investors are expecting good news ahead for the major events. Now, when we look at the earlier part of the week, right, there was some selling, right, especially when August ended, there was some selling, quite heavy selling over here. When we look at the on-chain data, aggressive whale distribution in response to price relief. So those whales who were holding above 10,000 Bitcoins, they were offloading some of their reserves by the end of August. When Bitcoin gradually climbed up to the high of $25,000, they decided to start selling at this point. Hence, you guys see the market weakness. But then, when we